Well, good morning and welcome to, we haven't done this in a while, Dave and Vince live on our entrepreneurial journey. And today we're talking about some marketing in a saturated market. Mm-hmm. That wasn't as exciting as it should have been. Good morning and welcome to Dave and Vince live. They just gave us this topic.
Yeah.
Scott didn't write it down and create a cheat sheet for us. So now we're freelancing it. Scott.
Where we talk freewheeling,
freelancing. I don't know. We're going to be doing. I thought of some other things about free, but they weren't mentionable on this call as soon as you said that. But yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about Scott because Scott's the marketing guy, and we're talking about marketing in a saturated market.
Yeah.
So that's an awesome topic, man.
It is. Makes you think.
That's right. That's right. Who am I? I'm Dave Wescott, CEO of Evergreen Brands. This is Vince Ortiz, Vice President of Sales and Operations. So he's making those sales happen. So he knows a lot about marketing. So I'm going to rely heavily on him on this call because I just get to look pretty and he is the one who gets the sales done, him and Scott. So what do you got for us, man? What are we talking about today? What's going on here?
You know what I think about when this topic first came across was, besides the blank, like what is this? Is the value.
Value.
Value is identifying your value in the market you're in to your client.
I love value.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, anybody from your team to the messaging should lean in on the value you provide to your clients.
Yeah.
And focus on that as a foundation.
That's a great topic, value. Market. How do you market in a saturated market and really understanding your value?
Right.
You know, the other thing that I love about working in a saturated market that kind of plays into that is I would so much rather be a contractor in Seattle, Washington versus Yakima, Washington.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, and if those of you who don't know Yakima, Washington, or we can just use Monroe, Washington, for example, because we're here and I know how many people live, what the population is. But the population in Monroe is like 16,000 people, right? And the population in Seattle is like a couple million.
Yeah, just under 3, I think now.
Just under 3 million.
Yeah.
Google fact check us if you want, and you know, if we're wrong, throw it in the chat. Just for all of the fact checkers out there. But you know what? The thing is that doing work in Monroe is so much tougher than doing work in Seattle, in my opinion. In my opinion, when you've got this small market of 16,000 people, you know, let's say you got a couple hundred contractors, you know. In Seattle, you have thousands of contractors.
Right.
But when you're in Monroe, it's like, you know, you're going up against some of them companies, and they're, you know, you got the down home, good old boy, you know, been working there for a long time, super low prices, works out of his home, maybe has one other truck, works out of the truck, charges a lot less. You know, just kind of make ends meet type business. And what I find in small towns is I actually go up against a lot of that.
Yeah.
Where it's really tough to get into the market, to establish in the market and, you know, become successful. What I find is in Seattle is all you need to do is throw up a website. I mean, to be perfectly honest, like in Seattle, it's so simple because there's thousands of contractors.
Right.
And that's a really cool thing because the pricing, one, is all over the board. Like, I remember living in, you know, right outside of Seattle, little suburb called Edmonds, and I got a little 20 by 20 driveway. Concrete guy comes in, that's 400 square feet, by the way, and I come and I get a bid. You know, some guy gives me a bid to tear out and replace the driveway for $48,000. You know, and I get another bid for $15,000, another bid for $12,000, and then I get another bid for $7,500.
Yeah.
How do you justify between the 7,500 and the 48,000?
It's wide variance, right?
But that guy in the 48,000 had a big, nice, fat truck looking good. I mean, you know what I mean? So how do you establish what you said was establishing value?
Mm-hmm.
And I think what we always focus on in a major metropolitan market, because that's where we want to do business, is we really focus on that value.
Yeah.
We really focus on that quality, right? It's really a driver for us, from showing up in the wrapped pickup truck of F-250 or 2,500 in size or bigger, wrapped, sport jacket,
Right.
jeans, work boots, collared shirt, looking professional, marketing materials, understanding the scope, the job, all of those things that say professionalism.
Right.
And in a really saturated market, it's actually a lot easier to stand out from the competition, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
When you're trying to be over professional, or and you're going up against the good old boy network, what I call it, or whatever. Some people call them the Chuck in the truck. But in those smaller markets, a lot of those smaller markets are dominated by the truck in the truck mentality, because their pricing is typically 30 to 40% lower than a company with overhead and staff and team and all of those things that make a company great. The company, if you focus on culture, it costs you thousands and thousands of dollars. Like you think about that, and you look at what just a company will spend. Just as an example, we have lunch on Fridays at our company.
Yep.
I've been talking forever. And so we have lunch on Fridays. So we have this budget to say, hey, for every week that we do that, the budget's like $300. Okay, so $300 times 52 is what? It's like $16,200 or something like that. I don't know if I'm right, but it's around there.
Yeah.
But you think about that, that's just the budget off the top of your head to have lunch with your team on Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
That's just to build an organization that cares about your team, that will deliver value to the customer. That's 16 grand. When you go up against the Chuck in the truck, they don't have that.
No, not at all.
They don't spend any time investing in that.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I love is you spent, 8 years building your own franchise and your own culture and your own team, and you were right in the heart of Seattle,
Yeah.
right? Right in Wedgwood, right?
Yeah.
Wedgwood Market.
Northeast Seattle.
Northeast Seattle, yeah. And so what was your experience like? What was it like for you in those markets? How did you attack that?
I think you touched on something that's so key in those bigger metropolitan areas. When we talk about that all the time in our business, in our franchise system,
Yeah.
And it's the opportunity,
Yeah.
the opportunity, looking at value, looking at that opportunity. You're looking at those differentials, right? The thing that separates us, from others. And we're in an industry marketplace that, quite frankly, everybody out there can relate to this, that suffers in service quality.
Yeah.
Or lack of service quality.
Right.
Communication, responsiveness, keeping your promises, all those things. And when you focus on those elements in your marketing efforts, and then you live by those opportunities become even more, and it just allows you to stay really, build a business the right way, and even though it's saturated, we talk all the time about how, some people that we talk to that are looking to get into business will say, gosh, there's a lot of competition out here. There's a lot of contractors out here. And what we say is we love that. That's what we want, right? So it goes back to what you're saying, how that plays a role in being in a market that has those opportunities and the different companies are involved in the type of business we're looking for.
Yeah, one of the things you touched on was service. And one of the things that I think that is, the way you deliver your business is your marketing.
Yeah.
And it's so important to really deliver that service. And just as an example, I try to invest in real estate. It's one of the things I try to do. And so I've got this goal, buy one property a year. every year, buy a property. And so I've been doing that. And what I have found is that finding a good property manager is almost impossible. What I have found for, apartment building type properties, and I'm just going to say this, is 99.9% of all managers suck. I mean, it is insane. Just as an example, in Spokane, I went through RPM, terrible, right? I went through, country whatever, terrible. I went through LT management, terrible. Why were they terrible? They never communicated. Yeah. You're paying them a portion of the rent. You're paying them a portion of what you're doing on the property. And, I hate to throw their names out there, but they were bad companies to work with. Bad. They never, it could take, I can remember emailing the owner of LT Management, no kidding, the owner of the company. Email number 4, no response. Email number 5 in the subject line, no response. Email number 6, no response. Yeah. Over a month-long period. And you think about that market, and you think about it, and you can Google, property management companies, and so many of them come up. And one of the things that I think is really important is when you're marketing, how are you telling your customer what your brand really does? Right. I think this is important. And I would say that even when we look at our website, we could do better. Mm-hmm. But when I look at the website and I pick up, LT management or RPM management or country management or whatever it is, how do I tell what the difference is? Because they all offer the same service. It's all incredible service. It's all available 24 hours a day. There's always an awesome portal. And they all have the same functionality on the website. So you're looking at it, and you can't really tell what the company stands for. Right. So then you go to the Google reviews, and you start looking at Google reviews. And if they have Google reviews that are decent, then you say, okay, I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to call these guys. Mm-hmm. And then you pick up the phone and you call them, and they all say a great thing. And listen, in my experience, I said to myself, I'm checking references. So then I started checking references, and all the references always came back glowing, but the service was always terrible. Yep. Because nobody's going to give you a bad reference. So checking references is actually, I've decided, it's a stupid thing to do. Because no one's going to give you a bad reference, and if they don't have a good reference, they're probably just going to make one up anyways. Right.
Lead you in the positive, lane.
Right? And so then I bought a property in Montana, and the property manager in Montana, this is the truth. His name is Josh with New Day Rentals. Maybe he'll listen to this and up his game. But he sucks. Literally. I haven't seen a financial statement since I hired him. Now I'm like, text him last night. Hey man, I need to see a financial statement. I know the money's going into my account, but I need to see a financial statement. And you know what I'm scared of? I am freaked out to death to fire him because at least he's collecting the rent. I'm literally scared to death to fire him because I don't know what I'm going to get next.
Partial services, yeah.
And what I have found is that these property managers, they suck. Even if I go through exhaustive interviews, even if I listen to their speech, even if I listen to it, and when I look them up online, the websites are all the same. I can't tell you one from another. And so, that means there's a lot of them. But I know the management company that managed the property when we bought the property, Row Management, I know they suck because they couldn't even get the documents over for closing. And so the point to this story, Vince, and the point to this story is that there's a million companies out there that do what you do. There's a million companies out there offering that same service. But what I find is that there is only a few companies who really exceed your expectations. Now I finally got hooked up with this company, Carlson and Company, in Spokane. And this is the gal that I bought, Christina, that I bought the apartment from. And she sends me an email and she says, hey, I'd like to take over your management in Spokane. And I'm like, okay, well, send me a proposal. So she sends me a proposal. And I'm like, okay. Oh, wow, that's way higher than what I'm paying. You know, I'm just like, oh. And I tell her, I say, you know, the service that I'm getting isn't great, but it's not the worst that I've got either. So I'm kind of like happy with the bad service I'm getting. This is what I tell her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if I should pay more and then get the same service from you, because it's like the 4th or 5th time I've been through this. I'm like brutally honest with her. And she writes me back this long, what I call Dave Wescott email, because I write almost an identical email to customers when I'm charging a crazy price. And she's like, I'm going to take care of you. This is going to be world class. You're going to get the most amazing experience of your life. I'm going to be there for you. We aren't going to let you down. Trusting us is the best decision you'll make in your life. I'm like, yes, this is my life. This is what I write. Were they perfect? No, they had a couple of bumps, but I can tell you this, no matter when that bump was, even if it was at 10 o'clock at night, somebody took the call immediately. But here was the kicker. We go into this, get the building painted, okay? And they bring in the contractors and they say, hey, I think you should go with this contractor. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I make the down payment, and then like the work is supposed to start, and then the work is supposed to start, and then it drags on. Anybody who deals with construction workers understands this. And now I'm into the rainy snow season in Spokane, and the manager calls me this weekend, and I'm like, oh crap, the manager's calling on the weekend. This is never a good sign. So I decide I'm not taking the call. I decide I just don't want to hear the bad news, because I know it's going to be bad news. I already know what's happened, right? I already know, because I was like, hey, how's the painting going? And then I get the phone call on a Saturday. I already know something's catastrophic. And he calls me and he's like, yeah, the contractor walked with the down payment. And I'm like, I already knew it. And I'm like, well, I figured that. That's why I didn't take your call on Saturday. And he says, you know what we're going to do, man? He says, you tell us what account you want your $4,000 put back into. And we've already hired a painting company at our expense. We're going to pay for have the entire building painted because it's on us. Every cent of it is on us.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's going to cost us $18,000. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? This is the level of customer service you guys provide? I'm literally blown away. I kept him on the phone for like 10 minutes about it. And then I wrote him some reviews. And then I made 2 videos, and I posted one on LinkedIn and one on Facebook last night about this exact same thing. But I think it's perfect because we're talking about marketing in a saturated market. And then I decided to look this company up right in Spokane. Carlson and Company Real Estate. I decided to look them up. They have 102 reviews on Google. They don't have a single review that's not 5 stars.
Wow.
Imagine that.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
102 reviews that are all 5-star?
That's impressive. In this world. In that market.
I mean, I always say there's one. There's that one guy you just can't make happy. And I figure those guys are 1 out of 10. So 10% of the customers are going to be ultimately difficult. These people deal in the residential market only. They do not do commercial real estate. They are only residential. And apartment buildings are considered residential. Mm-hmm. But imagine that, 102 5-star reviews. So it comes back to the thing I think that you said, which is, what is the value that you're bringing to the table?
Yeah.
And I can tell you that now I don't even care what I pay for them in the management fee, because I actually believe that they're going to take care of me. They're actually going to make things right. They're actually going to stand up for my property. They're actually going to do the right thing.
Right. And
that's what marketing in a saturated market is all about. because I put 2 videos out there. Now they can take that video and they can show that to prospective customers, right?
Yeah.
Or they can use me as a reference, because I'll give them a reference all day long.
Yeah.
And so when you grow your business that way through customer service, it's an entirely different animal.
It is. I mean, and you touched on the what's really wild is that just the basic expected services is where people are inconsistent at, and a lot of different businesses. And I think if you focus on consistent, just even the expected service, communicating, responding to a text, falling on your sword when things go wrong, all those elements, those are just basic expected services, no matter what industry you're in. And you get to that foundational aspect of it, and then just build from there. I think that goes a long ways, because like you're saying, and all the examples you've given, even in my business, when I have my business, you kind of, if you're not communicating to somebody, if you're not providing that value to them, if you're not responding to their special situation, then it's not going to work out, especially if you're consistently bad that way. So we always talked about, exceed, what are the basic expected services, and those are going to change all the time based on technology, based on needs of the client, and then at that point exceed those as you build on that. So, but that's what we see, Dave. A lot of times, in the examples you gave, the level of service is just inconsistent when it comes to basic services.
Yeah, it's sad because I'm not even looking for great service anymore. I'm just looking for mediocre.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just hoping it's mediocre.
Yeah.
And then when you get hit with exceptional,
it's wow.
It's like I'll never leave.
Yeah.
Now, you think about how many people are going to be exposed to this video. I don't know, maybe 20 million, because we're bosses like that. That's right. That's how we do it. We don't mess around. We shoot big.
That's it.
And we got more viewers than the Denver Broncos. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
That's a plug for Todd Chapman.
There you go.
Although I feel bad
Todd.
for Russell Wilson.
Yeah, he's having a bad year, man.
Gosh, 246 million, and he's playing like a toilet bowl cleaner.
Give him bad service.
Bad service, man. Bad service. The coach has got to go, though. The coach has got to go.
Yeah.
But, the worst Denver does, because, I'm a Hawks fan. We crushed the Chargers over the weekend. That was awesome. And Vince is a San Diego Chargers fan. They're still number 1 in his heart and number 2 in his mind. So, but, yeah, man. I just was thinking of Denver Broncos colors because we got this fancy little...
November.
We got this little flower in front of us.
Yeah. Thanksgiving kind of colors.
This Thanksgiving color thing.
Yeah.
But to keep us on topic here, if you want to market in a saturated market, what happened with Carlson and Company? Do you think that was just by accident? Do you think those 102 5-star reviews are by accident?
No. Not at all.
No, you know what? That's training.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a commitment to excellent culture. And it all starts with culture. It all starts with the way that you treat your people.
Right.
It all starts with the way you build your brand. Because if you don't instill that, if you don't work that, if you don't make that a part of everything you do, what's going to happen? They're never going to deliver that expectation.
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to have a garage installed yesterday, by the way.
That's right, up top there, huh?
Yeah, it's like 3:30. No one ever shows up. No one ever calls. Call the company. They're like, "Oh yeah, the truck broke down." I was like, "Cool. I've waited here all day." Oh well, we're sorry about that. We think we're going to be there tomorrow around the same time. Terrible customer service. You think, and it's just like, okay, well, I kind of just, hey. That's cool, man. Just, show up when you can. You know, what am I going to do? Get all riled up about this? Get all upset and curse the guy out? That's not going to make it any better.
Yeah.
Be thankful for it. I'm going to be thankful for it. So, you know, I think that as you're thinking about your business and as you're thinking about marketing, if you take anything away from this call at all, I think the bullet points are really look at your website, look at what the world is seeing, and then think about, you know, what does it mean for the customer to buy from you? What does it say about the customer? And then how do you deliver that incredible customer experience to that particular individual? And then how do you show that on your website? Because if I'm just the guy who's scrolling through the hundreds of websites or the thousands of websites, and I really want to be taken care of, I really don't want to hassle about this, I really don't want to worry about it,
Right.
then how do I show that to my customers? And if you can find a way to show them what you're all about, to show them who you are, then you are going to be able to really deliver in that saturated market and really find out what your value is.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, at the height of your business, could you imagine covering a paint job for $18,000?
No. I mean, you know, it's not doable, especially with, like you were talking about earlier, overhead expenses.
It's a killer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a killer. But look at what that company's done. They've gone above and beyond to take care of me as a customer.
Yeah.
My loyalty's through the roof to that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so what kind of value are you instilling in your business? At what lengths are you going to make things right for your customers? At what lengths are you going to show them that you're the best?
Yeah.
And I think that when you have an ultimate failure in business, it is the greatest time to show your customers what you're made of.
It's an opportunity.
Because they come back to the table and they say, that experience was awesome. You know?
Yeah.
How many times, if I have an amazing experience, am I going to share it?
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
share it as loud as I can,
Oh, yeah.
right? If
Yeah.
you've had an awesome experience, are you going to share it?
Absolutely.
Because we want other people to know about the awesome experience. And, you know, what I'll say is this. People say word of mouth isn't as important as it used to be. I completely disagree.
Mm-hmm.
Word of mouth is the most important way to get business.
Yeah.
Because if you tell me the story of how you were taken care of and that your experience went amazing, I'm not even going to check the references. I'm not even going to check the website. I'm just going to hire them because I'm going to trust that my friend got taken care of the right way, and that's the person I want to do business with.
For the referral work.
You know?
Yep.
And you're going to pay the money no matter what.
Yep. Just have that quality experience.
That's
All
right.
the way through. Yep.
You just had a big landscape experience in your backyard.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny that we're talking about these things. It was just kind of, you know, little things here and there. The just yesterday, you know, the guys didn't show up to wrap it up. No phone call, but this has been the recurring theme, you know, and being in the business that we are, it's real easy for me to talk the language, get on the phone, and you know, get them to engage and respond, but the proactive communication from that end doesn't exist.
And you spent a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
And you have a beautiful setup.
Yeah.
Fire pit on an island,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
little walkway, barbecue deal set up all out of brick,
Oh yeah.
synthetic turf.
It's gonna be a great year.
It's gonna be awesome. And you spent all that money. And to your point, just finishing the job
Yeah.
wasn't 100%. Would you use them again?
You know, no. You know, I mean, I think, you know, one of the things, because I know we got to wrap up here soon, but one of the things is that something to kind of keep in mind is that the person that I talked to, right, and worked out the deal with, amazing. Responsiveness, you know, this is the plan. But when it comes to actually doing the work, you know, it's just the quality of service. The basic expectation wasn't there.
Mediocre.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, in terms of not so much the work itself, but the communication. the
And that's what
messes.
matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're expecting the job to go done.
Yeah.
You've planned the party.
Oh yeah.
You got the pig in the ground.
4 weeks overdue.
4 weeks. Oh, 4 weeks overdue.
Right.
And we had an Indian summer.
Right.
So you could have been marinating in your backyard.
I was ready to have all you guys over.
Dang it. Vince throws a shindig too, man. That'd be an awesome experience. And now we're into the rainy season.
Yeah.
So if you're going to market in a saturated market, know your value, know who you are, know what you're going to stick by. And listen, I'm David Wescott. Follow me on LinkedIn. If you like this, give it a like. Share it on LinkedIn. This is Vince Ortiz. Follow him on LinkedIn. Give it a like. Give it a share. We'll be back next week or the week after. We're doing this all the time, so we're going to be continually talking.
Check the calendar. Yeah.
Got to check the calendar. That's right. Got to see what Scott's got in store for us. Big Scotty Too Hottie.
That's a new name. Yeah.
That's right. Scotty Too Hottie. That's who he is now. What's up, Scott?
Shout out.
Anyways, we are going to wrap this bad boy up. Hopefully you got something out of it. Hopefully it was a good time. I had an awesome time as usual with Vince Ortiz, the legend.
Good stuff.
Have a great afternoon.